complimented before to look like him. And because he's a celebrity or something, I didn't mind so much. I thought it was a compliment. Well, if somebody said that about somebody I don't actually view positively about, I might not look at it as a compliment. If you don't like somebody and they make a joke about somebody, or you don't care or you don't know them, you will find it funny most often than not. But if exactly the same joke is done to somebody that you like, or someone you can relate to, suddenly it's not as funny. You don't know what you don't know. So your conclusions or what you think are usually related to either what you've experienced or what you've learned or what you've seen. Every single emotion has to do with you. Hello and welcome to New Day, Same BS. My name is CT, and for this episode, I'm going to make a first attempt to actually talk about something that I think a lot of people understand, but I'm yet to find like in-depth like work on it. And basically, I'm just going to summarize what it's about. Basically, the notion for this conversation or the argument I'm making in this video is that every single emotion relative to a person or that individual all have to do with them or the empathy that they have towards a situation. And I will try to break it down and just kind of give out my first attempt to try to articulate my thoughts about this. And I'm very curious to see if anybody knows any work done by psychologists or psychiatrists, whatever the professionals will be. It will be interesting to me to actually see that, because I really think that every single emotion has to do with you. The first thing that I would argue there is that you don't know what you don't know. So your conclusions or what you think are usually related to either what you've experienced or what you've learned or what you've seen or tend to believe or at that point. So that gets me to my point about all your emotions being about you. There are a few things I'm going to talk about in a story as well with this. And it's the fact that a big example for me is the fact that if you don't like somebody and they make a joke about somebody, or you don't care or you don't know them, you will find it funny most often than not. But if exactly the same joke is done to somebody that you like, or someone you can relate to, suddenly it's not as funny to a lot of people, and you can actually either ignore it, but you know for a fact that that same joke that you thought was funny, insulting somebody else, or when you don't like or you don't care for them, suddenly you mind when it actually affects you or relates to you in a certain way. And I find that interesting because, in my opinion, is there any single emotion that has nothing to do with an individual? I'm going to just read out a few examples of different emotions. Anger. Most often than not, if you're angry, it's because you didn't get what you want. Somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do for you. Something affected you negatively somehow, either your fault, somebody else's fault, whatever the case might be. You're talking about frustration. Your expectations weren't met and you get frustrated. Sadness. For example, you lost somebody, you're going to lose access to that person. The thing is, they're no longer there. A lot of us, in some way, even though it's not someone directly related to you, most often than not, you know someone has died. And if you have not, at some point you will. So you know how that feels. So there's an empathy for that. And it's actually interesting for a lot of people, if they don't even like the person, they might actually not care. We need to be more human about that, by the way. But I'm going to say a story here. I think it's actually interesting because I remember at a point when Chadwick Boseman, for people that don't know who that is, that's the guy that acted Black Panther before he passed away. May he rest in peace. And it was very interesting when he passed away how that personally for me, I really don't know him. He's just an actor. Personally, that wasn't cool for me. It was sad, right? And I thought about it and I was like, what are the reasons? First of all, the interesting thing, there's a lot of bias, but I kind of see how it relates to me. First, he acted a character that I loved or I enjoyed a lot. So that kind of brings a personal, now it directly has to do with me. And then another reason was I've been complimented before to look like him. And because he's a celebrity or something, I didn't mind so much. I thought it was a compliment. Well, if somebody said that about somebody I don't actually view positively about, I might not look at it as a compliment, which kind of comes back to how your emotion actually directly has to do with you most often than not. Either the fear of losing access to something, the fear of being related to something. But I thought that was interesting. The fact that that emotion was because of the value, whether you didn't know him personally, that he has, in my opinion, brought to me, or the relation, or a way that I'm biased enough that I have been told at some point that I looked at him like him. And that kind of sent a way that it felt like, okay, I lost something as well. But the reason I say that is because in some way, every emotion that you feel, or that people feel, and I'm open to be corrected about this if it exists, is basically a situation where it's has a you have some form of empathy or you feel for it. And I was going through a few of those emotions. Another one is when you're happy. Basically, when you're happy means that something has worked out for you. Either you got something you wanted, you're feeling a way that makes you feel good, somebody complimented you for some reason, right? Stuff like that. It's usually about you. Like this whole idea, in my opinion, that people talk about being incredibly not thinking about themselves, but care so much about other people. Yes, there's empathy. You feel the pain of the people, right? It exists. That's a real thing. You can actually, you know how that feels, and you're human. But are you not getting something from it? Wouldn't you like to be appreciated for actually doing that good work anonymously too? You're getting something for it. You're feeling good that you did something and you didn't need people's approval and you did it. There's usually to everything an emotion to emotion that has to directly deal with a person. And happiness, sadness, anger, like jealousy. Jealousy is usually that someone is not there, you don't have access to something, right? Envy, like people talk about envy, is because you don't have it. It's not because the other person doesn't have it. People don't go around and be like, I envy that so and so person does not have something. Envy would have to do with you not having it, or greed, you not having it, not other people. But in general, when we all realize that we're human and everybody's feeling something or has needs or whatever, I think it's an interesting conversation. One thing I would want to do with this video, I don't want it to go over 10 minutes, but it's my first attempt. I don't know how well I did in trying to articulate this, but I'm interested to find out if there are scenarios that an emotion doesn't directly have to do with what you are not getting as an individual. If it's anger, you're angry the person didn't listen to you. Parent-child relationship, the child didn't do what you wanted them to do. As a child, your parent didn't give you candies, so you're not happy that you didn't get what you want. Then you're happy because you got what you want. Like in general, I'm just curious if there are any examples of emotions that wouldn't have to do, if you think about it from your individual point of view, about you and yourself. Yeah, so it's my first attempt. I'm going to try to talk about this a little bit more in the future, but I just want to put that out there, and I'm very curious to get more information about that. If you're listening to this, I would actually want to know what you think about this. Don't forget to leave comments as well about this. If you have any thoughts on it, I'm very curious to see what people think about that, because whether you get emotional or somebody else gets emotional, sometimes people are like, it's because of, I feel bad for the other person, but most often than not, if you think about it, it also has something to do with you, or an empathy, or something you can directly relate to about what that person is feeling. So it's really about you not feeling good, that it reminds you of that situation as well for it. So yeah, so I would leave it at that for this section of New Day, Same BS. My name is CT. Don't forget to actually subscribe, like, share. I appreciate everyone listening to this. Peace.